Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this video, the full version is available on Patreon. I'll be uploading all my content there going forward. It's currently free, but in the future I'll add a small monthly fee to support the channel. Comment or message me what price feels fair for you. Let's make it comfortable for both sides.
Chapter 1. Now let's learn a little about how to make basic chakra property changes. At night, in a classroom of the ninja school, a young ninja about 18 years old is giving a night lesson to the shinobi students. At this time, there was a loud shout outside. "It's not good," the Nine Tails came out and attacked the village. Hearing these words, all the students immediately shook, and then rushed out, frantically fleeing. Standing in front of the podium, Moonlight Star was a little sullen. Had things come to this point? Uchiha began to make trouble. His name is Moonlight Tony, the second son of the Moonlight family, and the uncle of the Moonlight Storm Child. A young ninja who has shown extraordinary talent since childhood, he is now specially hired as a teacher at a ninja school. In terms of teaching, Moonlight Star also has an extraordinary level. Moonlight Star was promoted to Shangnan at the age of 16, although there is still a lot of gap with a genius like Kakashi, but he is also a genius in the Moonlight family. Now he specializes in ninja school teaching. However, he only taught 2 courses, namely the generation and change of the nature of basic chakra and the basic swordsmanship of Konoha Ryu. Of course, he also has an identity, that is, a crosser. Over the years, as a genius of the Moonlight family, Xueji has been studying a special ninjutsu with the 4 basic chakra attributes of wind, fire, and thunder and yang. It was a technique that would shock everyone. It is a bloodstain elimination composed of 4 chakra properties, which he temporarily named Xingdun. Tony, who possessed the basic chakra attribute of wind and fire thunder yang, had been studying this technique for 8 years. Now we have reached the final step of integration. The shouts outside the house, as well as the news of the Nine Tails attacking Konoha, made Xueji understand that it was the right time to take the soil to manipulate the Nine Tails into the village to make trouble. Looking at the ninjas hurried outside the night, Xueji walked out calmly. The ninjas all gathered towards the entrance of the village, along with many students and teachers. All the ninjas and students below the upper shinobi immediately went into hiding. "Hurry up! It's dangerous here," the masked member of the dark department said loudly. "Go and inform the 3rd and 4th generations. The Nine Tails are out." Rumble. There was a loud crash in the distance, accompanied by a crash, and a sharp roar. Everyone could hear that it was the roar of the Nine Tails. The ninja of Konoha village turned pale, and his body couldn't help but tremble when he was frightened. The ninjas scattered all around. Well, what a terrifying monster! The dark ninja of Konoha village trembled with shock when he saw the huge 9-tailed fox in the night. "Get out of here, this kind of monster is not something we can deal with." The dark ninja quickly evacuated the crowd. Tony looked at the moon whose night sky was shrouded in fog, and felt that the night sky was a little cold at this time. The air seemed to suddenly cool. "Little uncle, what kind of monster is that?" At this time, a teenager appeared next to Tony, and he looked at the Nine Tails in the distance in shock. The teenager is Moonlight Blast. "This is the Nine Tails, a monster with good strength." Yes, compared to those strong people who open Gundam in the future ninja world, the Nine Tails can only be called good strength. Boom! The huge body of the 9-tailed fox began to destroy the buildings of Konoha village, and the fierce chi wave was roaring madly. "Sure enough, it's strong." Tony calmly watched the monster raging, and smiled coldly in his heart. "A beast is really a beast, it should be killed." After this thought flashed, a sound immediately appeared in Tony consciousness. The soul detection is successful, the activation conditions are met, the chakra system is activated. Please immediately fuse the chakra nature. Tony was slightly stunned. System? Have the benefits of the crosser arrived? 8 years late, there is still one. Fusion. As soon as Tony mind moved, the chakra system immediately began to merge. Wind and fire thunder yang chakra nature detected, fusion begins. Fusion successful, get bloodstain elimination ninjutsu. Please name the bloodstained ninjutsu. Xingdun. Tony said directly. After this, Tony immediately felt a terrifying chakra energy roaring in his body. Obtain the blood succession elimination ninjutsu star done, the completion of star fusion is 120%, and the permanent increase in chakra is obtained. Ding! Chakra's basic nature fusion degree exceeds 100%, triggering the newbie pack reward, please get. The voice of the system came from Xueji's mind again, and then he opened the newbie gift package with his mind. Ding! Get the star done chakra mode, the only exclusive, please learn now. Tony looked at this reward called Xingdu chakra mode and was slightly stunned. It is actually the only exclusive, and these 4 words are lit up with a golden halo, which seems to be an absolute good thing. Learn. Tony immediately learned the star escape chakra pattern, and then his consciousness fully accepted this information. Star chakra mode, increase the power of ninjutsu and increase the amount of chakra. The introduction of the star escape chakra mode is simple, but often the simpler the introduction, the more powerful it is. What is most important in the ninja world, of course, is ninjutsu. So what does the premise of whether ninjutsu is strong depends on, of course, the amount of chakra. The star done chakra mode is completely able to increase the amount of ninjutsu and chakra at the same time. This is a divine skill. Chapter 2. After Tony looked at the Xingdu chakra pattern, he found that there was still a line of words behind it. Star chakra mode level, LV1, ninjutsu power increased by 10%, chakra volume increased by 10%. It seems that this is a big gift package given by the system, and there is actually a level. System, can the star done chakra mode still be upgraded? Star asked the system with consciousness. Of course, but you need points to level up. Points. It seems to be something equivalent to experience points. However, is this asking me to complete the Ninja World single-player game? Kind of interesting. Tony suddenly became excited, and the game of raiding the Ninja World was interesting. After this, the voice of the system came from Xueji's mind again. Ding! Newbie mission, block the 9-tailed demon fox head-on for 60 seconds, reward, points *100. After listening to the sound of the system, Tony immediately understood that this point was something that was used to increase the level of star done chakra. Is it just that with his current strength, can he block the 9 tails head-on for 60 seconds? Although he is Konoha Murakami Shinobu, there is still a big gap with the shadow level of Wave Feng Shui Gate and Ape Flying Sun Slash. If a ninja of his own level goes up, will it be a gift of heads? Thinking of this, Tony is not caring about dangerous or not dangerous things, and the most important thing now is to block the 9 tails as much as possible. Not just for the system's mission rewards. Also for the students who are fleeing behind him, and his 11-year-old nephew. He can't let that little guy from Moonlight Wind be buried in the mouth of the 9 tails, otherwise, how can he explain to his good big brother? Thinking of this, Tony immediately put away his chaotic thoughts. Judging from the tasks issued to him by the system, it is clear that there is no dinner in vain. The newbie gift package that the system gave him was to block the 9-tailed fox at this moment. As the saying goes, the greater the ability, the greater the responsibility. I don't go to hell, who goes to hell? It's going to kill me. But even so, Tony is still beautiful. After studying Star Done Ninjutsu for 8 years, it was perfectly fused, and it also came with the Star Done Chakra mode. Big buck. After that, a virtual interface immediately appeared in Tony's mind. Host, Moonlight Star. Ninja level, normal upper shinobi. Bloodstain elimination, star escape. Chakra nature, wind and fire thunder. Points, 0. Star chakra mode, LV1. Ninjutsu power increase, 10%. Chakra volume increase, 10%. Ninjutsu. Fire escape how fireball art LV5. Fire extinguishing LV5. Wind escape vacuum wave LV5. Wind escape big breakthrough LV5. Thunderbolt LV5. Konoha Ryu swordsmanship LV10. Konoha Ryu sword art wind and fire thunder dance LV5. Shadow doppelganger LV5. Psychic Rashomon LV1. Weapons. Shuriken *10, Kumu *2, Katana *1, Detonation Charm *10. That's all there is in Tony. Tony looked at the virtual interface that appeared in his consciousness and was slightly stunned. He had practiced the Wind, Fire, and Thunder 3 series ninjutsu for a long time, and the ninjutsu level was actually only judged by the system as LV5. Over the years, in order to be able to study Xingdun, he spent a lot of time every day studying the 3 series of ninjutsu of Wind, Fire, and Thunder. However, the level of Konoha Ryu sword art surprised him a little. After all, Konoha Ryu sword art is a ninjutsu that every generation of the Moonlight family will cultivate. It seems that the system has transformed the ninjutsu that he has practiced in the past into corresponding experience points, which should be reflected in rank. But it's better. Let's try the power of the Star Chakra mode later. No matter what kind of chakra mode, it can definitely greatly improve the strength of the ninja, although from the introduction of the Star Chakra mode, it may not be very powerful now. However, the biggest feature of the Star Escape Chakra mode is that it can be continuously upgraded and constantly increase the amount of chakra and the power of ninjutsu. This is more awesome than any chakra pattern. Roar! The cry of the 9 tails resounded through the night sky of Konoha, and then the huge body jumped towards this side. The members of the Dark Division who were evacuating the ninja trembled with this terrifying momentum. Now that the 3rd and 4th generations have not yet arrived, if no one stops the 9 tails, there are still a large number of students in the Dark Department here who may be killed. As a teacher at a ninja school, as a shinobi from Konoha village, Hashirama would never allow such a thing to happen. Little uncle, let's go quickly, we will be killed by the 9 tails. The moonlight behind him shouted nervously towards Tony. Swift Wind, you leave quickly, the 9 tails are about to rush over, I'll stop it. Xueji shook his head. In terms of speed, no one of the ninjas present could be faster than the 9 tails, and in terms of strength, only the 4 generations could deal with the 9 tails. He didn't want to be swallowed by the 9-tailed beast when he fled. Swift Wind, your uncle is really crazy, and he actually wants to stay and stop the 9 tails. The purple long-haired girl next to Moonlight Swift said in surprise. This girl was called Yuzian. Uncle, you're crazy, come back quickly, you can't stop the 9 tails. Moonlight Swift said loudly. He didn't understand this little uncle's behavior at all. This was not to give the head to the 9 tails. Tony turned his head and glanced at the Moonlight Wind, and then grinned. Uncle, but it's really strong. Chapter 3. Moonlight Swiftwind and Yuzian both looked at Moonlight Tony in amazement, and seemed to feel that this man's temperament had changed. Is this still like the low-key and silent Konoha Shinobu Star Stick before? It was him, this little uncle who was only 7 years older than himself, who became completely different at this moment. There is an unfathomable smile in the calm face. Right at this time. Rumble. A huge body jumped directly. The 9-tailed fox smashed its feet on the ground, causing the ground to shake. Roar. The 9 tails opened their huge mouths and roared madly, and the chi waves turned into a violent wind and rushed in all directions. Uncle. The cry of the Moonlight Wind was drowned out in this wave, and then he found that his uncle Moonlight Tony had stood in front of the 9 tails without fear. In his opinion, it was a suicide. Xueji raised his head and looked at the 9 tails in front of him without fear. In the eyes of others, Tony seemed very calm at this time, but Tony knew that he was actually panicked. Even if the Star Chakra mode is turned on, it is absolutely impossible to be the opponent of the Nine Tails. But fortunately, he only wanted to delay the Nine Tails for a minute, and after the third and fourth generations came, he would complete the task of protecting his students. The nine-tailed body crouched, the 9 huge tails constantly flicked behind it, the air wave rolled up, and after a puff of smoke and dust dissipated, it saw the moonlight star. Beasts! Tony looked at the huge 9-tailed fox, and a mocking smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. After speaking, he looked at the countdown in the system, and only 5 seconds had passed. I have 55 seconds left to survive, which is really killing me. Tony couldn't help but complain in his heart. Roar! The 9-tailed fox opened its mouth again and roared, and the terrifying chi wave passed directly through Tony's body, and he felt a violent wind that was about to blow his body out. At this time, Tony's arms were bent, his palms were pressed together, his body was straight, and a strong momentum erupted on him. Enter Star Chakra mode. Suddenly, Tony felt that all the meridians and cells in his body were wrapped in a massive amount of chakra. On him, a golden light completely bloomed, illuminating the night. Everyone saw this golden chakra energy, but only a few people knew who caused this golden chakra energy. And the Moonlight Wind and Yuzian, as well as the members of the Dark Division who were preventing the 9-tailed fox from continuing to advance, they could see it clearly. How? How is it possible? What happened to Moonlight Tony? This moving chakra energy? Is it actually emanating from the Moonlight Star dedication? The member of the Dark Department said in surprise. I didn't expect the little uncle he. It's actually so strong. Moonlight Swift Wind was immediately stunned, and he remembered what Moonlight Tony said to him just now, Uncle, but it's really strong. It turns out that the little uncle is really powerful. With his strength that was not yet in the middle of Shinobu, he was naturally extremely shocked to see this scene shown by Xueji. Even Tony himself did not expect that turning on the Star Escape Chakra mode would actually cause such a big movement, and it looked very powerful. But Tony knew very well in his heart that even if this was the case, it was far from being able to stop the 9 tails. Hashirama knows that there are several well-known chakra modes in the ninja world. Thunder Shadow's Thunder Chakra mode. Future Uzumaki Naruto's Tailed Beast Chakra mode. There is also the Susa Chakra model of the Uchiha family. Metka East Dead Door Chakra mode. Reincarnation Eye Chakra mode. Finally, there is the famous Immortal mode, which is the natural chakra mode. Immortal mode is fundamentally different from other chakra modes. The other chakra modes use chakra in their own bodies, while the immortal mode operates by absorbing natural energy. There are also more powerful 6-channel modes. But no matter which chakra mode, it has unpredictable power. From now on, there will be one more ninja in the ninja world who can use the Star Escape Chakra mode, Moonlight Star Command. The 9 tails noticed this strong golden light, and then opened his mouth and swallowed. Looking at the fierce momentum of the 9 tails, Tony immediately opened his eyes, and then a golden light overflowed. An unprecedented sense of power gushed out from the body. Tony's hands quickly sealed. The art of fireball. A flame spat out of Tony's mouth, and then turned into a huge fireball and crashed into the 9 tails. This fireball was somewhat exaggerated, and its diameter was close to 16 or 7 meters. Tony himself was a little surprised. In the past, I used to use the art of how fireball, and the diameter was only 10 meters at most. But now it's actually increased by half. But the Star Chakra mode LV1 is only an increase of 10%, is a 10% increase so terrifying? He felt that the amount of chakra in his body was very abundant, much more than before. It should be the effect of obtaining a permanent increase in the amount of chakra when the Star Dun fusion is successful, otherwise, with only a 10% increase, there will not be such a big improvement. Star Dun and Star Dun Chakra mode, what a surprise! Is this really the Moonlight Star's fireball technique? Actually, it's actually more than half the scale of the Shangnan caste. In their opinion, How could a superior ninja use sea-level ninjutsu to such an extent? Chapter 4. The fireball crashed into the mouth of the Nine Tails, but the huge explosion did not cause any damage to the Nine Tails. For the Nine Tails, the flame just now seemed to be just a way to tickle. Xueji also did not expect that sea-level ninjutsu could hurt the Nine Tails, just now he just wanted to test the strength of the Nine Tails. Now, the Nine Tails are non-shadow level beasts that cannot be defeated. In Konoha village, there are at least 7 or 8 shadow level players, including Sanshinu's Orochimaru, Tsunade, Jiraiya, as well as the root leader Danzo, the 3rd generation of Hokage, and the 4th generation of Hokage. It's just that now that Orochimaru has rebelled, Tsunade and Jiraiya are also missing, and Danzo can't be desperate in this situation. Now there are only 3 generations of Hokage and 4 generations of Hokage. As for the Uchiha family, in Konoha's long-term political struggle, they are even more happy to see this happen. It is best if all 3 and 4 generations die, so that they have a chance to control Konoha village. The Nine Tails shook his head, and all the flames around him were ejected. In the next second, the Nine Tails roared viciously again. "Uncle, danger, go quickly!" In the distance, the Moonlight Wind shouted loudly to Tony, and then he was about to rush over, but he was held down by Yuzian. "Blast Wind, you're crazy, you're going to die!" Yuzian said loudly. "I'm going to save little uncle, I can't watch him die in the mouth of the Nine Tails." Moonlight Swift said loudly, and at this time he seemed very brave. "You will die if you go. You think your little uncle doesn't know that he is definitely not the opponent of the Nine Tails? That's because you're standing behind him, that's why he has no hesitation in blocking the Nine Tails, he is here to protect you. If you rush up rashly, your little uncle will die in vain." Listening to Yuzian's words, the Moonlight Wind was suddenly stunned. Yes, there is no one in the ninja world who does not know the power of the Nine Tails. It is impossible for the little uncle not to know that even if the little uncle hides his strength in the past, he will definitely not be the opponent of the Nine Tails. He blocked the Nine Tails to help buy time to escape. But little uncle, he's going to die. Moonlight Blaster said loudly. "You have to believe in him, believe in your little uncle. Didn't you keep telling me that your little uncle is a genius? Geniuses will never be killed so easily." Yes, Xian, you are right, the little uncle is a genius, and he will definitely not die so easily. I can't hold back my little uncle." At this moment, Moonlight Wind seemed to figure it out. "Xian, let's leave." Tony didn't know the brain supplement of Moonlight Wind and Yuzian, and if he knew, he would be very surprised. It is worthy of being a lover, and even the idea of brain supplement is exactly the same. But she is also right, the reason why she did this is also for this reason, of course, it is also for the task of the system. As long as he blocks the Nine Tails here for 60 seconds, his mission will be completed. The points awarded to missions are very generous. Seeing that the Nine Tails were not affected by the flames in the slightest, Tony's hands were sealed again. Wind escape vacuum wave. From Tony's mouth, an invisible wind blade continuously spit out and smashed on the Nine Tails. The thumping sound kept ringing. Roar. The Nine Tails seemed to be very painful from the star blade, and let out a strong roar again. However, these attacks still did not have much effect on the Nine Tails. After performing several ninjutsu in a row without success, Xueji had already stopped the movement in his hand. Not to mention B-level ninjutsu, even if it is A-level ninjutsu, it may not be useful to the powerful Nine Tails. Even the 4th generation Hokage Wave Feng Shui Gate can only use the cost of death to cast a ghoul-sealed to seal the Nine Tails. From this, it can be seen how terrifying the strength of the Nine Tails is. It's a pity that Xueji has just fused Xingdun, and even Xingdun Chakra mode is not very proficient. Finally, after enduring several terrifying ninjutsu, the Nine Tails set a pair of fierce eyes on Xueji. "Beast, come here." Tony smiled coldly, watching the countdown in the system flow slowly. 10 seconds have passed, and how to survive 50 seconds next is the key. Thinking of this, he immediately drew a katana from his waist. This is the saber he uses to perform Konoha swordsmanship, and it is also the weapon used to teach students basic swordsmanship. The golden light on Tony's body was like a phantom. At this time, his physical performance was very similar to the turning eye chakra pattern that the Otsuki people cast many years later. It's just that the color of the energy is different, and the energy of the chakra pattern is light blue. At this time, the Star Chakra pattern on Tony's body is golden yellow. After the blade was withdrawn, Tony's left hand sealed with one hand. Shadow doppelganger. Suddenly, 2 identical golden shadows appeared on his side. Chapter 5. Well? Looking at the other 2 figures that changed after the star seal was sealed, the Nine Tails whispered in amazement. It seemed that the star escape chakra pattern on Tony's body attracted his attention. Interesting ninja, I didn't expect to be able to meet it many years later. The nine-tailed hideous gaze swept over Tony's body before saying again. Wait, now let you feel the pain of a blade piercing your skin. The katana in Hoji's hand slid lightly, and the other 2 bodies also made exactly the same movements as him at the same time. Konoha swordsmanship. Dance of wind, fire, and thunder. In the next second, on the 3 katanas in the hands of the 3 bodies, chakra energy with 3 different attributes of wind, fire, and thunder appeared. The katana is wrapped in 3 layers of energy, and inside is a flashing thunder of electric flowers. The surface of the thunder is red flames, and on the outside, the fierce wind and air flow are swirling. This is the Konoha flow sword art that Moonlight Star Ji has cultivated in the past 8 years, and it is one of the 2A grade ninjutsu practiced by Star Ji, and it is very powerful. In the next second, Tony's 3 bodies turned into 3 golden rays of light and flashed towards the 9 tails. At this moment, everyone saw these 3 golden rays burst out of the night sky. The 3 different energies of wind and fire thunder penetrated the body of the 9 tails through 3 katanas. It's extremely fast. Hashiji's 3 katanas flashed simultaneously across the same position of the 9-tailed body. Suddenly, a verbal word more than 5 meters long was cut out of the 9 tails. However, this opening was instantly restored under the powerful chakra energy of the 9 tails. Ong! Under this attack, the 9 tails roared up to the sky. It only felt that Tony's 3 bodies flashed and appeared on its body just now. Then the body suddenly hurt. Tony was a little surprised, but he didn't expect to perform the A-level ninjutsu wind and fire thunder dance in the Star Dun Chakra mode, and actually injured the 9 tails. The Star Chakra mode is incredible. Little ghost. The 9 tails finally roared again after the previous surprise. As one of the 9 chakras that the 6-Dao immortal time Yu separated from the body of the 10 tails in ancient times, it is the terrifying strength of the owner. Ranked first among the 9-tailed beasts, although it was sealed many times, it was the first time that he was injured by a weak imp like Tony. Although this injury was nothing to it at all, it was more of a great humiliation for the 9 tails. Tony watched the countdown in the system, and then the 3 golden bodies turned into 3 beams of light and constantly flashed. Swish! Between the golden rays, the wounds on the 9 tails body became more and more, but it was also because of the powerful chakra energy that continued to recover. So it was utterly furious. Just as Tony was about to rush over again, the 3 orange tails of the 9 tails smashed towards the 3 bodies of Xueji. The speed was so fast that Tony didn't have time to react at all. Tony hurriedly raised his knife to resist, but... Bang bang bang! 3 sounds spread, the first 2 were bubble-like cracking sounds, and the last one was accompanied by a dull bone cracking sound. Listening to it makes people's scalps tingle. The 2 doppelgangers of Xueji were directly shattered, and the katana in the hand of the body was directly smashed, and then the body was smashed out by the fox's tail. Boom! The ground was smashed into a crack by the stars. As if struck by lightning, Tony felt that the bones in his whole body were shattered, and several mouthfuls of blood were spit out in his mouth, and the katana he held in his hand was only the hilt. What a powerful force! It is worthy of the 9 tails. Sure enough, with his current strength, he was not the opponent of the 9 tails at all. If he hadn't entered the Star Chakra mode, the blow just now would have killed him instantly. Feeling the rapid passage of chakra in his body, Tony consciousness was invested in the system. The countdown to the tasks in the system continues, but there are 20 seconds left, so you can make it past the remaining 20 seconds. Thinking of this, Tony got up from the ground with difficulty, raised his hand to wipe the blood from the corner of his mouth. After feeling the chi and blood stirring in his body, and after suppressing the desire to vomit blood, he looked up at the orange 9-tailed fox. The 9 tails shot straight over with cold and fierce eyes, and then the 9 orange tails flicked behind them and smashed fiercely. It seems that Tony has obviously completely angered this beast just now. The terrifying coercion reverberated in all directions, and the entire village could feel it. Dodge with all your might. The chakra on Star Ji's body runs fast. At this moment, he is like a small boat swaying in the wind, and the 9 tails of the 9 tails are earth-shattering waves. The wind pressure brought by those 9 tails rumbled like thunder. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. While watching the countdown, Xueji dodged the attack of the 9 tails with all his might. It's getting closer, it's 10 seconds away, and it's a minute away. After a minute, the points obtained for completing this mission should increase the level of the Star Escape Chakra mode. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Chapter 6. Time beat slowly, just a few seconds, but it made Tony feel like a long, long time had passed. Boom! The tail of the 9 tails smashed over again. Bang! The tail of the 9 tails slammed into the ground, and the ground suddenly cracked, and then the resulting chi wave completely swept Tony's body out. His injuries increased again, almost all fatal. Buzz! At this moment, the 9 tails of the 9 tails stood up vertically, and it opened its huge mouth and began to condense a pitch-black sphere. This is Tailed Beast Jade. Tony was stunned. The power was equivalent to S-level ninjutsu. If it is hit by the Tailed Beast Jade, then this life will most likely be lost here. Hurry, hurry! Tony watched the passage of time in the system with some anxiety, and at the moment when the 9 tails was about to spit out the Tailed Beast Jade, the countdown in the system finally ended. Ding! Mission completed, successfully blocked the 9 tails for 1 minute, mission completion, 110%, bonus points *100, bonus points 100. At the same time as the sound of the system sounded, Tony immediately put all the points into the level of Star Chakra mode. With -10 points, the level of Star Chakra mode is increased LV2. With -10 points, the level of Star Chakra mode is increased LV3. With -10 points, the level of Star Chakra mode is increased by LV10. At this time, Star Chakra mode LV10, ninjutsu power increase, 100%. Chakra increase, 100%. Keep rising. Ding, it takes 100 points to improve LV11 in Star Chakra mode, is it improved? Tony was slightly stunned, but in the instant of 3/10,000ths, he immediately chose no. Then both hands had already finished the seal, and then slapped hard towards the ground. 2 circular spells appeared on the ground, and chakra energy was instantly injected. Psychic Rashomon. In the next second, the ground rumbled, and then a huge ghostly building rose from the ground. The location of the ghost face building is exactly the path where the 9-tailed beast Jade rushed, and the grimace has a huge mouth, which looks like an entrance to hell. Tony was also stunned when he saw this huge ghostly building, which was more than twice as large as before, and it looked more substantial and condensed. This ninjutsu is a physical defensive ninjutsu, which consumes chakra energy, but now in the Star Escape Chakra mode, Star Ji can easily summon it freely. I'm afraid that Yi Zhong can't stop the Tailed Beast Jade. After seeing the tailed beast jade of the 9 tails, Xueji immediately realized that it was impossible for Rashomon to block it. Hashirama looked at the remaining 110 points in the system, and then turned his gaze to the ninjutsu of Psychic Rashomon. It takes 10 points for LV1 to be upgraded to LV2, and Tony did not hesitate at all and directly upgraded to LV10. When he wanted to continue to upgrade Psychic Rashomon to LV11, the system responded with the same voice as before, and it took 100 points to upgrade from LV10 to LV11. Psychic Rashomon LV10, physical defense increased by 100%, summoning a second Rashomon. After seeing this, the chakra in the Star Master's body immediately converged towards the 2 techniques on the ground. In the past, being able to summon a heavy Rashomon was already a great thing. And now, under the Star Escape Chakra mode promoted to LV10 and the Rashomon ninjutsu of LV10, he can support him to summon a double Rashomon. The next second, there was a boom. Behind the huge building that appeared before, a ghostly building of the same size appeared. The 2 are arranged vertically and become a frontal defense against the tailed beast jade. Rumble. The tailed beast jade that condensed terrifying energy suddenly crashed into Rashomon. The first Rashomon was immediately defeated. Seeing this scene, Tony was immediately surprised. Unexpectedly, Rashomon, which had strengthened its 100% physical defense, was still smashed by the tailed beast jade. At the same time, this also made Tony rejoice, fortunately improved Rashomon's defense power and number, otherwise, he would have been blown up just now. Rumble. After passing through the first Rashomon, the tailed beast jade crashed into the second Rashomon. The violent impact resounded in the night sky, and the second Rashomon suddenly broke. With a boom, the Rashomon summoned by the star was completely defeated. He was shocked. This is the tailed beast jade. What a terrifying force! Even the double Rashomon summoned in the Star Escape Chakra mode could not block the attack of the tailed beast jade at all. Looking at the tailed beast jade rushing over, Tony had no time to dodge. At this moment, a figure flashed to a position tens of meters in front of Tony. Tony was slightly stunned after seeing this golden light. It was the man who came. The golden flash of Konoha, the 4th generation of Hokage, the wave wind water gate. The huge-tailed beast jade continued to rush over. Chapter 7. Bo Feng Shuman's hands quickly froze, and then the tailed beast jade that had already arrived in front of him suddenly stopped. In front of the tailed beast jade, a pitch-black technique appeared. The tailed beast jade seemed to have fallen into a different space, and then disappeared completely. Boom! Thousands of meters away, there was a huge explosion, and the flames of the explosion formed a terrifying mushroom cloud. Just now, the wave Feng Shui Gate used the time and space ninjutsu Flying Thunder God to guide the thunder, and moved the tailed beast jade that broke through the double Rashomon to the open area outside the village and exploded. The sky was full of firelight, the furious airflow roared madly in the village, and the fire shadow cloak of the wave Feng Shui Gate was constantly shaking. Although he has long been familiar with Bo Feng Shuman, it is the first time that Tony has seen Bo Feng Shuman show its true strength. Unexpectedly, he was able to solve the attack of the tailed beast jade at will. It's too powerful, and it's worthy of being a 4th generation Hokage. It seems that he is still far behind. However, Tony did not have any loss, and in the future, he will definitely be more powerful than Bo Feng Shuman. Ding! Now that Konoha village is facing a crisis of destruction, please assist the 4th generation of Hokage Wave Feng Shuman. Mission 1, defeat Uchiha Obito. Mission 2, seal the 9-tailed demon fox. Mission rewards, Random S-grade ninjutsu 1, Random A-grade star ninjutsu 1, points 500, meteorite 30, titanium rock 30, ninja design drawing 1. Here comes the task. Tony was shocked, and he actually assisted the wave Feng Shui Gate to defeat Obito and seal the 9 tails, which was not an ordinary difficulty. However, when he saw the mission reward, his smile blossomed. Damn, Isn't it a waste of one's talent if the good youth does not work hard? Dry. Bo Feng Shuman suddenly felt that a figure appeared behind him, so he used the drawing technique Ku Wu to swipe towards the person behind him. But to his amazement, Ku Wu seemed to pass through a phantom. In that instant, the man's body seemed to turn into ripples. In the moment of consternation, Bo Feng Shuman felt a fierce suction force coming, and his body was being sucked into some alien space. In the next second, the wave Feng Shui gate disappeared in place. That is. Does Uchiha bring soil? Hashirama looked at this scene, and the man wearing a black coat with a mask that appeared just now was Uchiha Obito. Tony, well done. At this time, an old voice came from behind him. Hashirama turned his head and saw the 3 generations of Hokage Ape Flying Sun walking over with a large number of ninjas. You blocked the 9 tails for this minute, giving the village a chance to win. After seeing the 3 generations, Hashirama opened his mouth and called, Lord Sandame. The ninjas behind the 3 generations are the elites of various families and the dark department. Most of them are the strength of elite upper shinobi, and some are ordinary upper shinobi. The minute when Tony and the 9 tails fought just now, they all saw it. They were surprised that Moonlight Star Ji, a young Shangnan, was able to drag the 9 tails head-on for up to a minute. In particular, the golden light emitted from his body seemed to be some kind of special ninjutsu mode. Tony, are you okay? At this time, a middle-aged man walked out and looked at Tony and asked. Tony shook his head, I'm fine, big brother. This middle-aged man, who is close to 40 years old, is the father of Moonlight Wind, the eldest brother of Moonlight Star, Moonlight Starry Night. An elite kami shinobu in Konoha village with outstanding swordsmanship. Everyone, block the 9 tails first, and the sealing class is ready to seal the 9 tails. The 3rd generation of Hokage spoke, and then rushed towards the 9 tails with the ninjas. 3rd Dame Sama, I'll go support Shidame. Tony said that he still had a task. Okay, that's over to us. As Sandame answered, he summoned the ape demon. Tony, be careful. In the distance, the Moonlight Starry Night instructed the star, and then followed the ape Flying Sun towards the 9 tails. Xueji nodded and rushed towards the woods outside the village. He wasn't sure if the mission would be completed if he hadn't fought Uchiha Obito. Judging from the tasks released by the system just now, it is not explicitly stated that it is intended to kill or capture Uchiha Obito. Instead, he assisted Wave Feng Shui men in defeating Uchiha Obito. So this requires him to personally participate in the battle with Uchiha Obito. And the task of sealing the 9 tails will definitely be completed in the end. Swish! Xueji ran quickly through the woods, the golden light emanating from his body shining in the night sky. Suddenly, he saw a white glow between the trees in the distance. Over there! Tony rushed over quickly, and at the same time his hands were sealed, and an identical figure split into his golden body. He was silent for a moment, and then immediately gave birth to a plan. Boom! There was a loud noise in his ears, and then he saw Uchiha Obito wearing a mask being hit by the spiral pill of the wave Feng Shui gate. The moment his body hit the ground, Uchiha's figure disappeared and appeared on the stone in the distance. Uchiha reappeared on a large rock and gasped, and his left wrist was completely dissolved. After being hit by the spiral pill just now, he was hit hard. I lost. Uchiha Obito said, is this what is called flawless? It seems that there can be no negligence and flaws. Chapter 8. At this moment, the figure of the wave Feng Shui gate appeared in front of Uchiha Obito, and his right hand lined up towards Uchiha Obito. Deed seal. Uchiha Obito said in surprise, do you want the 9 tails out of my control? The 9 tails don't belong to you anymore. Bo Feng Shuman stared at him. Roar. The 9 tails in the distance opened its mouth and roared. Humph, in that case, it seems that this plan is a failure. Uchiha Obito said, but how are you going to stop the 9 tails? Saying that, Uchiha Obito's eyes wrapped in a mask began to move. It's pupil surgery. As soon as Xueji arrived, he immediately saw this scene, and then quickly rushed to Uchiha Obito. Divinity. A distorted fluctuation appeared, and the body of the wave feng shui gate immediately flashed out with the flying thunder god technique before being inhaled. The moment Kibo Feng Shuman saw Tony rushing in front of Uchiha Obito, he immediately shouted, "Don't go over Tony!" But Shenwei has completely covered Tony. Here comes another one. Uchiha took the soil and looked at the rushing Xueji and smiled coldly. Moonlight Star. He completely recognized the man who was covered in golden light. Stupid man! This is Uchiha Obito's evaluation of Moonlight Star in his heart. Frizzy will only cost you your life. Uchiha said mockingly. Kamui had been completely activated, and sucked Moonlight Tony body into it. Tony! Bo Feng Shuman shouted, and immediately wanted to use the Flying Thunder God technique to rush over. But in the next second, Uchiha Obito's panicked voice came out. What? It's actually a shadow doppelganger. It's not good, the shadow avatar has a detonation charm in it. Boom! The detonator sounded completely. Click click. After the explosion, a crisp sound of footsteps spread, and in the moonlight, a moonlight star with a golden glow walked over. Shadame, take down this guy who pretends to be a ghost. Tony said with a smile. Bo Feng Shuman looked at Moonlight Tony in surprise. Just now his shadow doppelganger actually deceived himself. And he was able to think of using the shadow avatar and the detonation charm to deal with this guy. This combat wisdom is really amazing. Tony, what a beautiful job. Bo Feng Shuman said. Although Moonlight Tony has always been low-key, he has always been known as a genius, but he himself is too low-key on weekdays. So many people inevitably underestimate him. The same is true for including Wave Feng Shuman. Unexpectedly, tonight's Moonlight Star dedication actually showed a completely different side. Not only strong enough to block the attack of the Nine Tails head-on, although it was only for a short minute. What surprised Bo Feng Shuman even more was his combat wisdom. He actually attached the detonation charm to the shadow doppelganger, thus cracking the masked man's ninjutsu in one fell swoop. Shadame, the Nine Tails are out of this guy's control. Tony came to Bo Feng Shuman and said. Okay, let's take this guy in one fell swoop, and then go stop the Nine Tails. As soon as the words fell, the figure of Uchiha Obito appeared from the air. He crouched on the ground and gasped violently, his right arm was completely blown off, and the black coat on his body was also burned out. It's just that the mask on the face is still intact, and it seems to be deliberately protected. Obviously, he was severely damaged by the detonation charm attached to Moonlight Star's use of the shadow doppelganger technique. Starting from the Wave Feng Shui Gate to the Moonlight Star, Uchiha Obito was hit hard one after another, which made him a little angry. Just now, he was still mocking the stupid behavior of this guy in Moonlight Star. I didn't expect to be slapped in the face in an instant. This feeling of being slapped in the face made Uchiha Obito unacceptable. After Uchiha took a breath, he set his gaze on Moonlight Xueji, who was full of golden light. At this time, Moonlight Tony performance surprised Uchiha Obito. He felt that the chakra emitted by that golden light was very fierce, and it seemed that he could only do it by entering some special state. Moonlight Star Command. Uchiha muttered in his heart, and the man's name appeared in his memory. He is a genius ninja who is 3 years older than himself, and he is considered a senior in his ninja school. Although he is a genius, he has been very low-key and silent, and few people seem to pay too much attention to this man. I didn't expect to be hit hard by this guy today. On! Bo Feng Shuman said, and then rushed towards Uchiha Obito. Hashirama watched Uchiha take the soil and rushed up with the Wave Feng Shui Gate. Xueji was a little lucky, but fortunately he caught up in time, and a little later, when Uchiha Obito left, he would not be able to complete the task of defeating Uchiha Obito. It would be a pity if this experience value was not rubbed. However, it is even more pity that he did not kill Uchiha Obito in one fell swoop. He only had 10 detonation charms with him, all of which were attached to the doppelganger. But it's nothing to think about, even Zionan's many detonation charms exploded together, and he tried to die with Obito without success. It's normal that these 10 detonation charms of your own can't kill Uchiha with soil. Chapter 9. Be careful with his space-time pupil technique. Bo Feng Shuman opened its mouth to remind a sentence. Understood. The moment the figure of the wave Feng Shui gate disappeared, the moonlight star also approached Uchiha Obito's body, so his hands immediately froze. Shadow doppelganger. He used the same trick he had just done. The moment he saw the moonlight star rushing over, Uchiha Obito, who was about to dodge with divine power, was suddenly startled. You can't use this trick. Uchiha Obito immediately suppressed Kamui. Just as the so-called once been bitten by a snake for 10 years and afraid of the well rope, the scene of almost surviving just now made him palpitate. Maybe the body still carried a large number of detonation charms. Bo Feng Shuman's eyes that saw this scene were a little surprised, but he immediately reacted. This guy was afraid of the detonation charm attached to the star shadow splitter, so he didn't dare to use the ninjutsu just now. Swoosh! The kuwu in Bo Feng Shuman's hand was thrown towards Uchiha with soil. You can't continue to delay here, you have to go. Uchiha thought so, and fled directly towards the distant woods before the kuwu of the wave Feng Shui gate appeared. I didn't expect that one day I would actually run away in fright. Although he has the ultimate hole card, Izanagi is definitely not allowed to be used here. Because as long as Izanagi's eyes are used, he will be blind after 10 minutes. Uchiha Obito is not worried that he will not be able to escape. As long as he escapes the area where the guy's doppelganger is, he can escape when using Kamui. Right at this moment, Uchiha Obito's body was hit. Hashiji's shadow doppelganger directly flew Uchiha with his palm. Poof! Uchiha Obito spat out a mouthful of blood, and his body crashed into a large tree in the distance. Divinity! Uchiha Obito immediately activated his ability, and although his body was hit hard again, he also opened up a distance. In the next second, Uchiha's body slowly disappeared. Seeing this scene, Bo Feng Shuman immediately launched the Flying Thunder God art to pursue, but after half a ring, he did not chase after Uchiha Obito. It seems to let him run. Bo Feng Shuman returned to Tony's side and spoke. That guy's tricks are weird, and he's a tricky opponent. Tony nodded and said. Not bad, so the identity of this masked man is very suspicious. As he spoke, Bo Feng Shuman set his gaze on the huge nine-tailed fox in the distance. The link between the nine-tailed fox and Uchiha Obito was severed, but the nine tails, as a tailed beast, was still wreaking havoc on the territory of Konoha village. Although the 3 generations of Hokage led people to block it, after all, the 3 generations were too old for other ninjas to be able to deal with the 9 tails. Go, let's hurry up and seal the 9 tails. Bo Feng Shuman's right hand was attached to Xingji's shoulder, and then the bodies of the 2 immediately disappeared in place. In the next second, the 2 came and appeared in the air. Wave Feng Shui gate quickly sealed. Psychic! A huge frog appeared in the air, and then quickly fell, smashing right on the body of the 9 tails who was about to release the tailed beast Jade. The ninjas who had just fought with the 9 tails below looked at the frog with a pipe in surprise, and then saw 2 figures standing above the frog. This is... Sandame looked at the figure above the frog in surprise. It's the 4th generation. And Moonlight Star. How did Moonlight Star stay with Shidame? The ninjas were very surprised, and it was really surprising that Shidame actually appeared in this way with the Moonlight Star. Through the previous battles, Wave Feng Shuiman has already regarded Moonlight Star as a reliable ninja who can help him. Although he was trampled on by a frog, the tailed beast Jade in the mouth of the 9 tails was still condensing. Shidame. Hashiji set his sights on Sandame. To divert an attack of this magnitude, it would necessarily consume a considerable amount of chakra. Leave it to me to deal with, Tony. After speaking, the wave feng shui gate immediately froze, and then the 9 tails completely disappeared. In the next second, the distant area outside the village erupted with a shaking sound. Xueji jumped off the frog's back, and he guessed that the wave feng shui gate must have reshifted the 9 tails. Sandame, hurry up and go to the woods over there. Tony hurriedly said, and everyone reacted, and then rushed towards the distant woods. Tony guessed that the wave feng shui gate was going to be sealed by ghouls. After Tony came to the woods, he found that a transparent nodule completely blocked the area, and the 9 tails were also locked by several golden chains, completely unable to move. The 3rd generation, the 4th generation is going to reseal the 9 tails at the cost of his own life. Tony said in a deep voice. As a traverser, he couldn't tell what it was like, but he had a heartfelt admiration for a man like Bo Feng Shuman. At the same time, I feel a pity, a loss, but unfortunately, such a man will die young. The loss is that you can't compete with this kind of man in the future. Chapter 10. Could it be? Listening to Tony's words, the 3rd generation said in surprise, ghoul-sealed. As soon as the words fell, the technique of the wave feng shui gate was immediately completed. A smoke-like phantom appeared from behind him, and then turned into an illusory ghost. The ghost opened his arms, was wearing a white ghost robe, and was biting a short knife in his mouth. The chakra of the wave feng shui gate continued to pour into the ghost. The enchantment is opened in front, and you can't enter it at all. The 3 generations kept patting the enchantment, but they didn't open it at all. In the next second, the ghost claw of the ghost shadow passed through the back of the wave feng shui gate and directly pierced his chest. The ghost claw flew into the body of the 9-tailed body. Abominable 4th generation Hokage. The 9 tails looked at the wave feng shui gate with a fierce gaze. Seal. Unmoved, wave feng shui men immediately launched in ninjutsu. The soul of the 9 tails was pulled out of the body and poured into the chest that the wave feng shui gate was penetrating, turning into a substantial technique. After this, Bo Feng Shuman began to carry out the Bagua seal. Ready to seal the 9 tails on Naruto, who had just been born. At this moment, the chains on the 9 tails completely loosened, and then the 9 tails grabbed Naruto with its sharp claws. But the Feng Shui Gate and Uzumaki Jushina blocked Naruto. Whew! Tony's pupils shrank, and a sharp sound came from his ears. One of the fingernails of the 9 tails pierced the body of Wave Feng Shui Gate and Uzumaki Jushina. Eventually, the huge nails of the 9 tails stopped on top of Naruto's head, and blood dripped from the nails onto the stomach of young Naruto. Click click. It's like a gentle raindrop falling. Even though Tony had known that there would be such a scene, after witnessing it with his own eyes, his heart was still a little heavy. Looking at the 2 who were pierced by the 9-tailed nails, Tony's right hand grasped the enchantment hard. The enchantment was constantly shaking as he grabbed by his powerful chakra. Sandame, the child is inside, they protect the child. Tony said softly. The 3 generations saw the baby on the altar with wide eyes. You guys! The 9 tails looked at the 2 with a fierce face, as if he did not expect the 2 of them to be so decisive. Bo Feng Shuman began to seal with his blood-stained hands. Psychic. A frog appears. Tianyin, I'll give you the seal-style key. After that, let Jiraiya-sensei keep it immediately. Bo Feng Shuman said to the toad. I took the key, then I'll go first. Tianyin rolled the scroll on his body, and then turned into a puff of smoke and disappeared. At this time, the ghost behind the Wave Feng Shui Gate took the short knife in his mouth in his hand. Looking at Uzumaki Shine's instructions to the newborn Naruto, everyone present was unmoved. This is a mother's greatest love. And the deep regret in her eyes, the regret of not being able to accompany the growth. Finally, a short sentence with a smile on the face of the Wave Feng Shui, Naruto, what Dad wants to say. And your nagging mom. The same. Gossip seal. Bo Feng Shuman closed his eyes and completed the final procedure of this operation. The light flashed, and the body of the nine tails twisted into a shadow and merged into Naruto's body. Wave Feng Shuman, Vortex Juzine. Tony looked at the two who had lost their breath. Sandame, they're dead. At the moment when the enchantment disappeared, the ninjas had already rushed over. Tony, are you okay? At this time, the moonlight starry night came over. Ah, big brother. Xueji nodded, and seemed to be a little interested. Originally defeated Obito and sealed the nine tails, which should be a happy thing. Now with the death of Wave Feng Shuimen and Uzumaki Juzune, Tony feels extremely heavy. Don't be too sad, it's a common thing in the ninja world. Moonlight Starry Night comforted him and said. Yes, big brother, all of us have this day. Tony said, raising his head to look at the moon that exuded a clear glow and was silent for a long time. Moonlight Starry Night came over, seemed to be able to understand Tony's mood. He patted Tony's shoulder and said, you performed very well today and made great contributions to the village. Go back to sleep, and there will be nothing to do when you wake up tomorrow. Well, okay big brother. Xueji nodded. Although Tony's soul is an earthling in the 21st century, he has traveled to this world for 8 years, and he has also gained rare family affection in the Moonlight House. As an orphan in his previous life, he felt that kind of bloodline affection from the Moonlight Starry Night in this life. This older brother, who was 20 years older than him, gave him father-like care. Xueji walked towards the building of the Moonlight family in the village with a feeling of loss. Just after entering the house, the sound of the system came to his head. Ding! Successfully defeated Uchiha Obito, mission completion, 120%. Ding! Successfully sealed the nine-tailed demon fox, mission completion, 130%. Due to the completion of the mission exceeding 100% for 3 consecutive times, the special prize draw is +1, and the A-level Star Dun Ninjutsu is upgraded to S level. Now post the mission reward settlement. Earn S-Class Ninjutsu 1, get S-Class Star Ninjutsu 1, get 500 points, bonus points 500, meteorite *30, titanium rock 30, ninja design drawing 1. After hearing the reward settled by the system, the loss in Tony's heart was swept away. What surprised him was that he was constantly upgraded to S-grade A-level Star Dun Ninjutsu, and there were also lottery benefits. Chapter 11. Tony did not rush to the lottery, but first set his sights on the reward of the system. This series of rewards almost made Sing's Heil dizzy. This is called a wave of fat. The first is meteorite and titanium rock with 30 each. Meteorite, an ore formed by extraterrestrial meteors that fall on the planet and can be used to make weapons. Titanium rock, a space product with extraordinary hardness that can be incorporated into various ores to make weapons. There are 30 of each. After browsing the ore, Xueji set his eyes on the ninja design blueprint. Ninja tool design drawing, steel umbrella, set. Just an umbrella? Pub future ads. Tony was a little strange, but after seeing the introduction, he was stunned for a moment. The steel umbrella can make drawings and can make a set of hard ninja tools that integrate attack and defense. When Tony saw the structure of this steel umbrella, he realized that this was a set of powerful weapons. The surface and handle of the iron umbrella are in the shape of an umbrella, but inside the handle, a long sword can be hidden, and a sharp dark weapon can be installed on the head of the umbrella. According to the introduction, when the steel umbrella is unfolded, it can also use and release ninjutsu by entering chakra energy, and form a powerful chakra energy defense against opponents' attacks. Tony saw the production method of iron umbrella, long sword, and dark weapon respectively. It is clear that this is a set. To craft the steel umbrella set, you need meteorite 30 and titanium rock 30. It seems that this is the benefit that the system gives to newbies. The 2 materials awarded are just enough to make a set of steel umbrellas. The drawings are there, the materials are enough, and there are also blacksmiths in Konoha village, and I will go and make this set of weapons tomorrow. After reading this, Xueji set his sights on the 2S level ninjutsu obtained. First, S-class ninjutsu. This is Yin Seal. Tony was slightly stunned, it was actually this ninjutsu. This is an auxiliary ninjutsu, which can store chakra in the forward position in advance, and achieve the effect of instantly healing and strengthening attacks and increasing speed by micro-adjusting chakra, and can also condense chakra on the forward and release it instantly when needed. Although he didn't get the most wanted technique, this auxiliary S-level ninjutsu was also very suitable for him. Heal the body, strengthen attacks, increase speed, store chakra. These can make Tony's strength improve again. Learn. Tony immediately chose to learn the Yin Seal, and then the Yin Seal ninjutsu on the system gradually turned into bits and disappeared into bits of starlight. A moment later, he felt that a special message had been injected into his body, and the Yin Seal ninjutsu had been completely reflected in his mind. Learn. Sometimes it's that simple. JPG. Ding, S-class auxiliary ninjutsu Yin Seal learning successfully. At the same time, a voice came from the system. Yin Seal LV1, S-level auxiliary ninjutsu that heals the body, strengthens attacks, and increases speed. Chakra can be stored on the forehead and obtained by casting the Yin Seal when used. LV1, ninjutsu power increased by 10%. Note, due to the lack of Yin Seal and ninjutsu, the stored chakra cannot be released. However, after seeing the handwriting behind the Yin Seal, Tony was slightly stunned, and then remembered that if he wanted to release the stored chakra, he had to solve this S-level ninjutsu of the Yin Seal. The Yin Seal is the basis for performing the art of 100 heroes, and if you can learn the art of creating regeneration and the art of 100 heroes through the Yin Seal and interpretation, you will be able to acquire the ability to regenerate for a long time. This is Tsunade's original medical ninjutsu, which is unimaginably powerful, but it also has relatively heavy side effects. Thinking of this, Tony immediately sealed the seal and activated the Yin Seal. He felt that the exhaustion of his body was gradually healed under this ninjutsu, and at the same time, a special power was generated in his body, and a chakra gradually converged towards his forehead. It seems that there is a way to learn the ninjutsu that follows the Yin Seal. Tony tried to increase the Yin Seal level. Ding, LV1 to LV2 requires points *100, is it improved? Nope. Starji immediately stopped, but he didn't expect that it would take 100 points to upgrade S-level ninjutsu. It seems that S-class ninjutsu is different. Although the power of Yin Seal ninjutsu has only increased by 10%. But the power of ninjutsu itself is different. If the original power of the Yin Seal is 100, after a 10% increase, the power is 110%. Then the power of A-level ninjutsu is much lower than that of S-level ninjutsu, maybe only 10, even if it is increased by 10%, it is far less than the improvement of S-level ninjutsu. Of course, the number of points that a ninjutsu increases is relatively less. Xueji did not raise the Yin Seal for the first time, but wanted to see what ninjutsu would be obtained next. Then the next step is the long-awaited S-class Star Dun ninjutsu. How powerful Xingdun was, he already knew it perfectly. With this expectant mood, Tony looked towards the S-grade Star Dun ninjutsu. Grip the grass. This is... Tony was slightly stunned, and then his face was full of joy. Venus Fall Sword. What a domineering name for trademark. Chapter 12. Moonlight Star held the surging beating of the new heavenly dynasty at this time, and he felt that he had taken off. This feeling was not there when I obtained the S-level ninjutsu Yin Seal before. Only when you get the system and the Star Escape Chakra mode, will you be so excited. Star Dun Venus Fall Sword, the only exclusive S-class Star Dun ninjutsu. In other words, only one person in the ninja world can use this ninjutsu. Tony immediately chose to study, and then the Star Dun Venus Fall Sword gradually turned into a little starlight and disappeared. After choosing to learn, Jaidu suddenly felt a strong message coming from his consciousness. He gathered all his spirit and devoted himself to the study of this ninjutsu. The learning of the Venus Fall Sword was much slower than the S-grade ninjutsu Yin Seal. After choosing to learn the S-level Yin Seal, it took less than 10 seconds to successfully learn it. However, the star-done Venus Fall Sword did not move for an hour after choosing to learn. However, Tony was not too anxious. He had a hunch that the longer he learned, the more powerful ninjutsu might be. Time passed slowly, and the information in Tony's mind about the Venus Fall Sword flowed wildly. It was as if an incomparably real picture fell in his mind, thus becoming an instinct of his body. In this way, Tony's consciousness completely fell into it, as if he had entered the deepest dream. Everything in it is as if it had happened. The night had passed, and the sky outside the house had completely lit up. The cool morning breeze blew in through the window, and there was movement on Tony, who had fallen into a deep dream. At this time, his cross-seated body finally moved slightly. Then, a crisp sound came from Tony's mind. The voice of the system came. Ding! S-level star-done ninjutsu star-done Venus Fall Sword learned successfully. After hearing the sound of the system, Tony immediately opened his eyes and felt that his whole body was filled with a fierce force. He continued to look inside the system and saw a line of annotated text after the Venus Fall Sword. Note: to cast the star-done Venus Fall Sword, you must enter the star-done Chakra mode. Sure enough, you must enter the star-done Chakra mode to be able to perform the star-done ninjutsu. This is also to be expected. After all, the star-done Chakra mode is terrifying for the improvement of its own ninjutsu power and chakra amount. Only in the star-done Chakra mode can the power of star-done ninjutsu be truly exerted. Thinking of this, Xueji once again invested his consciousness on this ninjutsu. Star Venus Fall Sword. Grade S. Form: Golden Chakra Lightsaber. Mode: Star Escape Chakra Mode Exclusive Ninjutsu. Power: calculated based on chakra amount/level. Chakra consumption: unknown. Grade: LV1. Introduction: in the star-done chakra mode, gather the star-done chakra in the palm to condense a golden lightsaber. The length and power of the lightsaber depends on the ninjutsu level and the amount of chakra. Venus Fall Sword LV1, 300 meters long, with the sharpness of cutting everything and 10% more powerful ninjutsu. LV1 LV2, 500 points required. Maximum length, cuttable planets. Because the system's introduction to this S-class ninjutsu made him understand the powerful power of this ninjutsu. However, seeing the introduction of the Venus Fall Sword, Tony was slightly stunned. Wait a minute. Isn't this the Golden Wheel reincarnation explosion of the Rebirth Eye? The form of the Golden Wheel reincarnation explosion of the Reincarnation Eye is very similar to the Venus Fall Sword, both condensing chakra in the palm of the hand to form the chakra lightsaber. System: isn't this the Golden Wheel reincarnation explosion of the Rebirth Eye? Xueji asked the system with his consciousness. It is a super-enhanced version formed according to the principle of the Golden Wheel rebirth explosion. The system's answer made Tony feel that this was indeed the case, and according to the introduction, this was very similar to the form of the Golden Wheel reincarnation explosion. Although it is very similar to the Golden Wheel reincarnation explosion, there is still a difference. The Venus Fall Sword is more powerful, and at the same time, it can continuously increase its power. At least for now, there is no need to worry about the power of the Venus Fall Sword. Although it is not up to the point of cutting off the moon with a sword now, at least in the current ninja world, it is definitely a powerful move that can be counted. Xueji looked at the introduction of ninjutsu with golden light on the system, and gradually understood in his heart that it seemed that many ninjutsu in the system were created by relying on the ninjutsu principles possessed by the ninja world. Think about it, in the ninja world, various ideas of ninjutsu have basically been created by others. It is already rare that the system can create its own ninjutsu after fusing other people's ninjutsu concepts. This kind of awesome ninjutsu actually allowed himself to obtain it. However, the number of points required to increase the level of the Venus Fall Sword is too terrifying. From LV1 LV2, it takes 500 points, which is 5 times that of the S-class ninjutsu yin seal. It's perverted enough. Tony clasped his hands together and immediately entered Xingdu chakra mode. Then he began to condense the chakra energy in his body, deep in his right palm, and a golden chakra energy gradually appeared in his palm. Controlling the amount of chakra, Xueji's palm gradually condensed a golden lightsaber, and this golden lightsaber was compressed to a length of 3 meters under Xueji's deliberate control. He felt a sharpness from the golden lightsaber that he had never felt before. Chapter 13. Up and Up. Tony continued to penetrate a chakra energy, and then the lightsaber increased impressively. Just when the lightsaber was about to stab through the roof, Tony immediately converged the lightsaber in his hand. The lightsaber turned into a golden point of light and disappeared. After doing this, Tony put his eyes back on the system. Looking at the remaining 1110 points, I looked at the points needed for other ninjutsu improvements. It takes 100 points to upgrade to LV10 from A-level ninjutsu Psychic Rashomon LV10. A-level ninjutsu Konoha Ryu Sword Art Wind and Fire Thunder Dance LV5 requires 10 points to increase to LV6. The 2 A-level ninjutsu stars on his body are not ready to be promoted for the time being. He wants to put the only points he has into the Star Escape Chakra mode. As for ninjutsu below grade A, he will not consider improving for the time being, and he will improve it when the number of mission points increases in the future. Even if the power of B-level ninjutsu can be increased by 100% or 200%, it is not comparable to A-level ninjutsu without improvement. This is a natural gap in the power of ninjutsu. Seeing this, Xueji continued to look towards S-level ninjutsu. Yin Seal LV1 boosts to LV2 for 100 points. The Star Venus Fall Sword LV1 requires 500 points to be upgraded to LV2. Even if he already knew the number of points needed, when Tony saw the number of points needed to improve the Venus Fall Sword again, he was still shocked. This is 5 times the Yin Seal of the same level S-level ninjutsu. It seems that even if it is S-level ninjutsu, the gap between the two is still very large. Now he has 1110 points on his body, which is only enough to raise the Venus Fall Sword to the LV3 level. The key is that after the upgrade, it is only a bonus to the power of a single ninjutsu, which is far inferior to the improvement of the Star Dun Chakra mode. So it was an easy decision to make. Of all the ninjutsu priorities, none is higher than the Star Escape Chakra mode. Star Chakra mode LV10 requires 100 points to increase to LV11. After seeing this, Tony did not have any hesitation and directly chose to improve the Star Dun Chakra mode. Ding! Do you choose to increase the level of the Star Escape Chakra mode? A voice came from the system, and Tony immediately agreed. With minus 100 points, the level of Star Chakra mode is increased LV11. Points minus 100, Star Chakra mode level increased LV12. With minus 100 points, the level of Star Chakra mode is increased LV13. Points minus 100, Star Chakra mode level increased LV20. 10 consecutive sounds sounded, and the number of points in the system instantly decreased by 1000 points. Therefore, the level of the Star Dun Chakra mode has finally been raised to LV20. Looking at the remaining 110 points, Tony once again headed towards the system. Ding! There are not enough points to improve. Seeing the feedback from the system, Tony found that the Xingdu Chakra mode was upgraded from LV20 to LV21, which required a full 1000 points. Such a terrifying number of points is really amazing. It seems that the improvement of the Star Dun Chakra mode will increase tenfold every 10 levels. No wonder it only takes 10 points to go from LV1 to LV2, and it seems that it will be more difficult to go on. However, it also proves the strength of the Star Chakra mode, because it is an all-round increase in the amount of all ninjutsu in its own chakra. Star Chakra mode level LV20, ninjutsu power increased by 200%, chakra amount increased by 200%. Suddenly, Tony felt that the amount of chakra in his body was growing wildly. At this time, it is like a river composed of chakras, roaring between the meridians and cells in the body. The total amount of ninjutsu power and chakra has tripled in all directions, plus the S-grade ninjutsu Yin seal, and the exclusive S-class ninjutsu Venus Annihilation Sword of Xingdun. The overall strength of Tony can be said to have increased several times in an instant. This is called a real wave of fat. Seeing that there are still 110 points left in the system, Tony thought about it. The remaining 110 points cannot improve Xingdu Chakra for the time being, it is better to upgrade it to LV10 for a ninjutsu Konoha flow sword art wind and fire thunder dance. Thinking about it, Hashirama nodded on the A-level ninjutsu Konoha flow sword art and the dance of wind and fire thunder. After the number of points was reduced by 50, the level of dance of wind and fire thunder came to LV10. Upgrading from LV10 to LV11 also requires 100 points. Gradually, Xueji figured out this system a little. After each ninjutsu was upgraded by 10 levels, the next time it would cost 10 times more points than the last time it was upgraded. Different levels of ninjutsu require different base points at the beginning. The higher the level, the more powerful the ninjutsu, the more points will be consumed at the first 10 levels. Chapter 14 Konoha Ryu Sword Art Dance of Wind and Fire Thunder LV10, Ninjutsu Power increased by 100%, obtained Speed Bonus, obtained Duration Bonus. To cast the Dance of Wind and Fire and Thunder, it uses the Shadow Doppelganger technique as the front, and injects the three properties of Wind and Fire Thunder Chakra into the blade, and finally controls the three bodies to attack the target at the same time, forming a cross-attack mode. Because the three chakra properties of wind and fire and thunder cannot exist for too long, it is a ninjutsu that breaks out in a short period of time. The speed is very fast after casting, and during this ninjutsu duration, it can constantly attack the enemy. The longer the duration, the more powerful and faster it is. It seems that a single ninjutsu can get some special bonuses for every 10 levels raised. For example, after Rashomon is upgraded to LV10, the second gate can be summoned. After Dancing of Wind and Fire Thunder improves the knife LV10, it can get speed and time bonuses, but it does not say how much the bonus is. But as a star who has long been proficient in using the Dance of Wind and Fire and Thunder, as long as he uses it, he can evaluate the bonus ratio of this speed and duration. At present, the system interface of Star Executive is as follows. Host, Moonlight Star. Ninja Level, Upper Shinobi. Bloodstain Elimination, Star Escape. Chakra Nature, Wind and Fire Thunder. Points, 10. Star Chakra Mode, LV20. Ninjutsu Power Increase, 200%. Chakra Volume Increase, 200%. Ninjutsu. S-Class, Star Venus Fall Sword LV1. S-Class, Yin Seal LV1. Grade A, Psychic Double Rashomon LV10. Class A, Dance of Wind and Fire LV10. Other. Fire Escape How Fireball Art LV5. Fire Extinguishing LV5. Wind Escape Vacuum Wave LV5. Wind Escape Big Breakthrough LV5. Thunderbolt LV5. Konoha Ryu Swordsmanship LV10. Shadow Doppelganger LV5. Ninja. Shuriken *10, Kumu *2, Ninja Design Drawing Steel Umbrella *1, Meteorite *30, Titanium Rock *30. Number of draws, 1. This is the current state of Tony, and it seems that the form is very good. Tony saw the lottery displayed at the bottom of the system, and then remembered that the system also gave a lottery. Prepare for the draw. After the consciousness was invested, an echo came from the system. Is there a lottery? Lottery. Wouldn't it be a pity not to take advantage of the best state of this wave of takeoff to draw the lottery? In the next second, a roulette wheel appeared in the system. There is nothing on the wheel, but the area is planned, with a total of 10 squares and a pointer in the middle. At this time, the wheel lights up with golden light, and then the hands of the general and the wheel begin to rotate. Because he couldn't see any reward, Tony didn't have any nervous look. This kind of thing is all about luck, and what you draw is what you draw. Ding, the lottery is complete, get the Shadow Feather Star. Shadow Feather Hopper Star. What is it? Is it ninjutsu or ninjutsu? It looks like a ninja tool. Tony immediately opened the Shadow Feather Star with his consciousness. Cage Fa Sha Star, a white coat made of special leather and silk thread that will never be damaged, and it is said that if you wear the Cage Ha cloak for a long time, the chance of becoming a shadow is increased by 3%. Is this clothes? I actually drew a white coat, but it was more like a white feather coat, like a dress composed of white feathers. Looking at the system's introduction to the Shadow Feather Star, Tony sensed that this dress would not be damaged. No matter whether it is burned or slashed, it cannot be damaged, and from this point alone, it is indeed a rare treasure. However, the latter line made Tony a little incomprehensible. How does this thing improve the chances of becoming a filmmaker? Star Commander immediately chose to obtain it, and then extracted the Shadow Feather Star from the system. A white coat gradually appeared in his hand. After putting it on, Star took a look in the mirror. The white coat has a slight blue mark, there is a feather pattern on the back, and the cuffs of the white coat reach the wrist, and the cuffs are wider, like the cuffs of a robe. The collar at the neck is a round straight collar, and the front of the body is crossed, and it can be closed automatically without buttons or zippers. The white coat hangs down to the calf. Xueji looked in the mirror for a while and found that the dress fit perfectly and looked good. There is a touch of majesty. System, don't you say it's a star? How can it be golden? Tony couldn't help but ask the system. You try to enter the Star Chakra mode and see. The voice of the system reached Tony consciousness, and Tony was slightly stunned. He clasped his hands together and immediately entered the Star Chakra mode. Suddenly, a golden light appeared, completely covering Tony's body. At the same time, the Shadow Feather Star on his body also changed. It turned golden yellow from beginning to end, and two blue ties appeared on the shoulders, floating around all the time. The Shadow Feather Star on his body also fluttered in this chakra mode. Compared to the previous shape, it now looks stunning. This can be called the Shadow Feather Hopper Star. Chapter 15. Tony immediately exited the Star Escape Chakra mode, and then the golden light emitted from his body disappeared, and the Shadow Feather Star returned to its original appearance. After rechecking the system, Tony was ready to push the door and walk outside. However, when he just went out, he happened to meet Moonlight Starry Night and Moonlight Blast, as well as more than a dozen other ninjas from the Moonlight family. Big brother, you are? Tony asked, looking at their father and son with some doubt. I'm here to call you. The fourth generation of the husband and wife died in battle last night. Today is going to hold a funeral, come with me to their funeral. Moonlight Starry Night said. Hokage's death was a big deal. Good. Tony nodded and followed the Moonlight Starry Night towards the other side of the village. Xueji, I'll come with me to the Konoha Shinobi conference later. After walking for a while, Moonlight Starry Night said again. The Konoha Upper Shinobi Council is a gathering of the upper ninja of the major families of Konoha village, and once a major change occurs, it is summoned. Apparently because of the death of the fourth generation member Feng Shuman, the upper ninja of each family have to discuss Konoha's future plans together. However, it was indeed somewhat unexpected that Tony could be invited to participate. Let me attend the Konoha Shinobi conference. Moonlight Starry Night nodded. Your performance last night shocked everyone, and Lord Sandame specially specified that you participate in this meeting. After listening to the words of the Moonlight Starry Night, Tony nodded. He could think of the purpose of the three generations. This time, the village suffered heavy losses, a large number of ninjas died, the younger generation of ninjas have not yet grown up, and the older generation of upper ninjas all have their own minds. It is rare to see such a strong young man, and the future is limitless. In doing so, he is also most likely to cultivate himself into a concubine line early. Besides, although the Moonlight family is not a big family in Konoha village, the more rooted and red, there is no problem with the background at all, nor any historical problems. The most important thing is that the Moonlight family is not like the Uchiha family, and the Moonlight family has no idea about the position of the Hokage. With the comprehensive strength of the Moonshine family, it is impossible to have any ideas. I see. Xueji nodded and said, Big brother, you should be able to figure out the purpose of the 3 generations to do this,